Hey guys, Level Cap here, and welcome back to This Week in Gaming. This is the show where I catch you all up on gaming's biggest stories of the week at a rapid pace. We used to run this show every week for quite a while, but for scheduling reasons it became time-consuming and difficult to produce. But we had a new opportunity to return to the show, and I gotta say, I've missed it. If you're a fan of the old show or excited for the new one, drop a like and let's get into the weekly news. Starting off with Netflix. Netflix shut down their internal AAA game studio last week. The layoffs likely have affected dozens of developers, but they also lost the company some top gaming talent like Overwatch's executive producer, Halo veteran Joseph Staten, and God of War's art director. The company also announced that their interactive shows, which functioned as sort of a choose-your-own-adventure narrative series like Black Mirror Bandersnatch, are getting removed from the platform. And while this might seem like Netflix is giving up on gaming, they seem to be pushing ahead in a different path. Their vice president of generative AI for games, which is a ridiculous title by the way, Mike Verdu, hyped up the company's AI-driven game development projects on LinkedIn. He says he's currently working on driving a once-in-a-generation inflection point for game development and player experiences using generative AI. He then says generative AI is the most exciting opportunity for gaming since the 90s, and that he can't believe how lucky he is to be alive when a wave this big is about to hit the gaming industry. Critics of generative AI have highlighted its reliance on existing media, which could be argued is essentially theft of copyrighted material at an unprecedented scale. Not to mention the massive GPU and power costs of the systems that run them. Seeing a Netflix executive so excited about the future of generative AI games after the company's own internal game studio just got axed hopefully isn't foreshadowing a larger move coming in the overall gaming industry. Now before we get to our next story, here's the biggest gaming titles that released this week. Metro Awakening VR launched to rave reviews, with many comparing its quality level to that of Valve's Half-Life Alyx. Planet Coaster 2 is out, currently sitting at mixed reviews on Steam, with many complaining about missing features like Steam Workshop support that was present in the previous title. Goat Simulator Remastered is now out, the remaster we've all been waiting for. And finally, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, which is being compared favorably to Hades. It actually looks kinda awesome. Alright, have you ever wanted to play a Minecraft clone that runs at an even lower resolution and 20 FPS? Well, the latest in AI gaming is called Oasis, and it's basically a real-time AI-generated experience that mimics the classic crafting game. It was built by training an AI model on thousands of hours of Minecraft footage. The end result is something that looks like Minecraft on the surface, but slowly becomes more and more of a hallucination as you play. Players are sharing their clips online showing terrain completely changing as they move their viewer around. Buildings morphing into trees, items appearing and disappearing. It's basically a fever dream simulator more than anything else. The interesting element here is that there's no actual game running. Oasis is a really fast image generator that uses predictive algorithms to paint what it imagines your inputs do. So while you can quote-unquote play the game, you're mostly just watching a real-time image generation AI hallucinate what it thinks Minecraft should look like as you walk through the world. It's not as impressive as Doom AI, but at least you can just hop on a browser and check it out for yourself. Nintendo has confirmed that their next console will be backwards compatible with the original Switch titles. It'll also support Nintendo Online, which is the online storefront and multiplayer service for the Switch. This is a pretty big deal because Nintendo traditionally locks all of its games and services to its hardware. Future consoles typically get previous generation games via an emulation system that forces you to rebuy those games. Nintendo haven't confirmed what their next console will be. It's rumored to be a Switch 2 or Switch Pro that improves the core hardware for improved game performance. And this would make a lot of sense if it is expected to play all the previous era Switch games. Is Nintendo finally done with their crazy console and controller experimentation between each generation? Is the Switch form factor the end game for Nintendo? We'll have to wait and see, but it is pretty exciting for Nintendo fans who don't want to buy a whole new library of games for the next system. 6 Days in Fallujah, the semi-realistic military FPS set in the Fallujah battle, has left early access with a major update that adds the game's first documentary story mission. It also adds an AI squad mate system that can be used in single-player and co-op modes, and a new procedural mission where the terrain is regenerated with every playthrough. Reviews are sitting at mostly positive, with some praising the game's replayability and atmospherics, while others criticize the lack of some FPS basics, like the ability to go prone and other wonky gameplay. The $700 PlayStation 5 Pro is finally out, and analysis by reviewers paints it mostly as a luxury upgrade over the base PlayStation 5 that provides nice bumps to performance and resolution in most games. The general consensus is that the price is excessive, especially when some of the essential peripherals like a disk drive and a stand add more to the total cost of the console. Digital Foundry specifically says it's for people like them that are very discerning when it comes to technical details, which are things that the average player might not know or necessarily care about. In other gaming hardware news, benchmarks of AMD's latest 3D V-Cache CPU, the Ryzen 9800X3D, show it giving AMD the lead yet again as the fastest gaming CPU maker in town. It boasts better average FPS and 1% lows than the previous generation of 3D V-Cache CPUs, as well as Intel's current generation of CPUs by a significant margin. On top of that, the new CPU runs several degrees cooler under load than AMD's already remarkably cool running current gen CPUs. The one potential disadvantage holding the 9800X3D back from being a universal CPU is its single-core performance and productivity workloads. It's not intended for those tasks specifically, so it's no surprise that its improved gaming performance doesn't translate into improved productivity compared to current gen Ryzen CPUs. It's priced at $479 US. Roblox are taking new steps to protect children from the game's dark underbelly. Social experiences will become inaccessible to anyone under the age of 13 starting later this month. In December, a similar restriction will be applied to unrated experiences. Enforcement of ratings will be up to the experience creators until sometime in 2025, when Roblox will officially oversee ratings. Bloomberg reported over 13,000 cases of child exploitation in 2023 alone that occurred on the Roblox platform, which also resulted in 24 arrests. Star Citizen's next big ship sale event, IAE, kicks off this year on the 22nd. During the event, the game will be free to play and offer players their first chance to fly the Polaris, a massive Corvette-class capital ship that was viewable previously in the game but couldn't be flown or explored internally. The release of the Polaris, I believe, will make it the largest flyable ship that is specifically designed for combat. Star Citizen's 4.0 update has been in semi-public testing, with many players reporting improvements to stability when transferring between systems. However, there are reports of stability being quite inconsistent depending on the server situation, so basically Star Citizen's current state. This is the update that will introduce the game's second ever playable system, Pyro. Unfortunately, this major update also had quite a few gameplay features removed to ensure that they could launch it before the end of the year. Grand Theft Auto 6 is still on track for a 2025 release. The game's publisher, Take-Two, made the announcement during their latest investor call. Leaks have suggested that the game was delayed internally, and many fans were expecting the delay to be officially announced soon. However, Take-Two are adamant that the game is on schedule. It's currently on track to launch in fall of 2025. And that wraps it up for our return to This Week in Gaming. I hope you guys like the show, and if you have other stories or suggestions, let us know in the comments. And if you would like to see a longer format discussion on gaming topics, check out the Level With Me podcast here. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.